Well,
Okay.
I pressed it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on. It's recording.
Good evening and welcome to a special edition of Wamper's Corner, direct from St. Catharines, and evening of the Ontario Lacrosse Hall of Fame. I'm sitting here with Larry's driver, who skipped his lacrosse game tonight. Now tell me about that. You were supposed to play with...
Actually, I was supposed to do the introduction, but Wamper's already done that. Today, lacrosse inside the game was supposed to be present at the Ontario Lacrosse Hall of Fame induction in St. Catharines, but Mark C. scheduled a fun day tournament for us, and it started at 9 o'clock in the morning and went till I think around 4 o'clock. So I decided that I was going to come in here to see my good buddy Larry Wamper Power be inducted into the Lacrosse Hall of Fame, Ontario. We went to the wine and reception at Lock 3, and for the first time I saw the Hall of Fame, and I was impressed with some of the artifacts there. I was impressed with some of the cards that Wamper had. I think he wanted a couple to complete his collection. There was a Newsy Lalonde. I think
that big Newsy, that big...
A real big one
cardboard
there.
one.
I figured that he would. I don't know where his friend is from. He's from all over the world here, but I figured he could sell that to his friend for $10,000 here. But it's under lock and key. And by the way, that my wife Lynn is sitting here in the room, and Twyla's also here. As you know, Twyla came up for the induction ceremony and for a little holiday with Larry. They spent the last 2 days in Niagara Falls. And rumor had it that they got married, but that was quickly dispelled here. So they are still just partners in life.
Partners.
I don't think that you can afford to get married in Niagara Falls. We went into the Burger King to get a Whopper, and it was an $8 Whopper. And after Kirsten swearing at them, we left. Twyla tried to take pictures of the prices of the different food, and then this Chinese lady, no, you can't take a picture, and she started yelling at Twyla.
In Niagara Falls?
Yeah, and that's when I was going to start yelling, well, I've been living in here since 1826, my family, we came from Ireland. And
wait a minute, but this is going to be for family consumption in here.
Okay.
So it has been a very interesting day. It was sunny and very enjoyable here. Again, there were a number of people here at the wine reception at Lock 3 in St. Catharines. The individuals who put this together have done a tremendous job. I know that we should give a special thanks to Kendra Rose, also Tommy Suckamore. I don't know Tommy that well, but I did get to know Kendra Rose very well today, and she's done apparently a fantastic job. And her idea was to put this program together, and it has present inductees. I'll just hold it up to the camera here. Present inductees and past inductees here. The OLA was well represented. John Doherty,
Stan Cochran,
Stan Cochran, Peter Fluke, a number of other people. We were even blessed by a member of Parliament, Jim Bradley. The Master Ceremony was
what's his name?
Paul
Suggett.
Which I understand he's the new coach of the Rochester Nighthawks.
Yeah,
is that
that's
correct?
true, yeah.
And there were, I believe, 4 coaches, NNL coaches present there.
Yeah, Eddie Como from New York. Who else was it?
Bob
Hanley from Edmonton was there.
Rush. Bob McMahon.
Bob McMahon was there.
Who was Colorado. Mammoth now.
Yeah.
And we mentioned the 4 coaches. Yeah.
What's it for?
I think you got 3.
Well, let me see. Let's do it. We may have to edit this. As the 4 were Eddie Como from New York, Paul Suggett from Rochester, Bob Hanley from Edmonton Rush, and the 4th person was Bob McMahon from Colorado. And I know that, although this is Wamper's time in here, I do have a personal story to share, because I met Bert Naylor 39 years later when he came down and helped us form the Nova Scotia Lacrosse Association in 1969, where we had to get a team together for the 1969 Summer to Canada Games. It was the first time they had lacrosse in those games, and we had about 3 months to get a team together. So they came down and gave us a quick demonstration of how to play the game and how to referee.
Wasn't that when you and Lynn first met, or you were going out together?
Actually, we were married, and there is a little story here. This is going to be all over the map here because we're just sitting here, just enjoying ourselves and talking about it. I got married in my third year of university in Halifax. I was doing engineering there.
And was Lynn in high school?
Lynn was in high school. She was 12 years old at that time. That's not quite true, but somebody thought that she looked very young, as she does today, and somebody thought she was about 12 years old. An individual did phone up my parents and said that that seems strange that somebody at university should be dating a 12-year-old. But we did move into the married student quarters, and right next to it was a retirement home, and it was referred to, the two towers were referred to as Shotgun Towers and Menopause Manor. So you could go from Shotgun Towers if you stay there and spend your career there, and move right into Menopause Manor. But what I was surprising, I did Google Earth that, or Google Maps, and we used to practice in the field behind us getting ready for the lacrosse games. And now if you go onto it, it's on Wellington Street in Halifax, and if you look in the big field behind there is an outdoor box lacrosse here. And Bert and Ailey was really impressed because there are not too many outdoor box lacrosse. I'm hogging Wamper's time. Let's hold this up in here.
That's a trophy from the OLA for getting inducted in the Hall of Fame.
I will bring it closer to you, and I'll bring it up to the camera. There you go. And I don't think there's enough light whether you can see his name there, but I'll check out and see whether it's Powers or Power. And in fact, it is Power here.
Yeah, they finally got that fixed. I was going to talk, we all got to sit, well, Twyla and I got to do some yakking up in front of the crowd, and it was fun, and I was telling some stories, and then because some of those guys that were also inducted tonight were sort of my heroes, even when I was a grown-up person, like I said tonight, Bob Hamblin, remember him? Hammer, when they used to, Fergus, whenever they came in to play Brooklyn, he was the one player on Fergus. At every game, he was the top player for them.
Yes, and he was already wearing a knee brace at that time.
As a young
man, even though he was hurt, he practically, I shouldn't say that because other players did make a big contribution to that team, but he was a go-to guy. That's what I remember, and I remember him coming up the stairs in those old dressing rooms in the Brooklyn Arena. He was just hobbling up, but when he got on the floor, all of a sudden he could run with that knee brace on. It didn't matter. And he could score when you let him in close.
And then another inductee tonight was Terry Lloyd. And Terry, I played lacrosse against him back in Oshawa. I was playing juvenile, he was midget in house league. And his older brother Larry was there tonight. And Larry I also played lacrosse against. And he's got a younger brother Lyle who I coached in Bantam, and they were all there tonight. And Terry in 1975 scored 113 goals playing professional for Philadelphia when him and Larry both made the All-Star teams, the old NLL league. And the funny thing was that Paul Suggett won the scoring title in 1974. It was a pro league that lasted 2 years, 74 and 75. I gotta tell one story. I gotta tell how I got started sort of getting all my stats on Bible of Lacrosse. It was called the Encyclopedia of Lacrosse. It was back in 1975, and my boss, Norm Brown, back in those days we had an old IBM System 3, and it used to be 90 column cards, little wee cards like this, and Norm would go, he'd either go on holidays or he'd be away for a little while. And when Norm was away, it was time we were, the girls, we had two key punch girls. It was Janice Chamberlain and Gloria Gallant. And I said, okay, I got all these stats that gotta be done. And the payroll would have to set aside the accounts payable, the accounts receivable, whatever work was to be done would have to sit and wait till these lacrosse stats got done, and then I would put them on the computer and print off stuff. And there's the original encyclopedia of lacrosse is down in the bowels of the Hall of Fame right now, at this moment in St. Catharines.
And those were on punch cards, and there were 2,000s to a box, and if you dropped those and you didn't use columns 72 to 80 to index them, you were in big trouble.
That was the start of it. And geez, that's 30-some years ago. The first stats I ever saved started when I was 15. That would have been in 1963. And no, it was 65, so I was 17. I used to clip them out of the Oshawa Times. And there was a year when Johnny Davis won the scoring race, and they had all the top scorers in the league. I remember clipping out that, and that was the start of everything. So 17, that's a while ago, 43 years ago.
Well, one of the things that impressed me tonight, if I'm talking about it, is just the respect that the Wamper has from all these individuals in lacrosse, from Bob Hanna to even some of the younger players that were here, or sons and daughters of inductees tonight, and they were all looking to him to verify their stats. You know, I got 2 more points, but Wamper said, nope, if it's not in the Bible, you didn't get those here. Don't pull that stuff on me. I got the facts here. The only season that would be in dispute would be in 1968 when they had the mail strike. And we still have not got all those game sheets here.
If any fans out there have any old stats, let's say Mississauga, any of those teams from junior A or even senior stats, hidden in an old scrapbook or up in your attic, if you could get them to Gary Marks's the site inside the game.
Lacrosse inside the game.
Lacrosse inside the game. We'd really appreciate that, because we could try to narrow down a bit more history.
Or mail it directly, email it if you have email to wamper23@yahoo.com. And if you don't have email, get somebody to email him, and he'll give you his address, so you can mail them to him by snail mail. Because his colleague out west, Stan Shillington, who's done this for as long as Larry, or probably even longer than that, and they correspond still by snail mail, because Stan Shillington says, nope, I'm not using a computer. My trusty old typewriter is still good enough. I don't know if it's
Underwood typewriter, he still uses that.
So it's not even an IBM Selectric, it's an old Underwood.
And he's still the most accurate statistician or historian in lacrosse today, to this day.
Keeps you straight.
I did want to say, and I did say this night, that I wanted, for me getting in the Hall of Fame, it was really the Bible that got me in the Hall of Fame, and to that I thank Stan Shillington, Paul Whiteside, Bobby Granger, who has passed away a couple of years ago when he was in the he was actually in the library doing research, and he passed away with a massive heart attack. Lucky guy. I mean, to go doing something you love, to die that way, that, you know, there's no greater honor in the world. And then my driver, sitting beside me for taking me all those games, and then a special thank you to Tom Suckamore, because for about 3 years Tom would get the Hall of Fame to pay for a lot of my research. You know, all my letters, big parcels I sent out to Stan Shillington, and photocopies, and print copies, and the printer cartridges, and it used to run over $100 a month on the average, and me being on disability insurance, it was pretty hard to cover all that kind of stuff. So anyway, Tyler and I are in the middle of